Hi everybody, Olivia Reiner here from Lambeau Field live. It is getting a little chilly out. We've got our coats on. I'm joined by Ryan Wood, and hopefully our conversation will bring warmth and joy to all of you at home.
Very heartfelt of you, Olivia.
Wherever you are watching.
I just hope you learned something, maybe.
Yes. The Lambeau Field gods are smiling down upon us because just as we came out here to set up the camera, a single light came on that is pointing right in our direction. Maybe I'll take a picture of it and share it over on social media just so you guys can see, but there is only one light on in this entire stadium, and it is going right onto our faces. We have our own light, so we are good just in case that one decides to go out.
It's like the Star of Bethlehem.
Yeah, it seems like there's some big meaning to it, doesn't it?
It really is.
Doesn't it? It's probably just some very nice worker here at Lambeau Field who saw us and decided that they wanted to put the light on.
Or it's a random fluke. It could be that too.
Either one. Who knows?
A lot of things are in play here. They really are.
Perhaps it's a symbol of something bigger. But anyway,
Perhaps.
Guys, if you're watching over on Facebook, hello. Make sure you leave us some questions in the comments. I will be pulling those up on my phone in just a moment. We're also live on YouTube, on Periscope, wherever you are. Thank you for watching. We always appreciate it. So why don't we just get right into it and talk a little bit about practice today. Practice is practice. We don't get to see a lot at practice, but we get to see who is at practice. Davante Adams, for the second day in a row, was at practice warming up. He did not participate in practice yet again. It's starting to look less and less likely that he will actually play on Sunday in Kansas City.
Yeah, I don't know if there's an answer yet, but I don't think he's going to play. I don't think he's going to play. He could. I just don't think he will. You know, the thing that he said today, I mean, he goes inside the Don Hutson Center for a reason. He's putting that toe through all kinds of tests. He had a revamp in physical activity this week. The thing that really jumped out to me is that he's still struggling with the full speed routes and that he struggles most with, you know, the kind of taking off and pushing that foot into the ground, taking off on it, planting and accelerating him. That's literally what a wide receiver does. And that's especially what Davante Adams does so well. So if you're struggling to do that, you're probably not playing.
That is the name of the game, isn't it?
It is.
You want Davante Adams to be able to run full speed routes.
It's important.
It's a minor details, right, guys? But no, it is a big deal, and they don't want him out there. They don't want him aggravating that turf toe anymore and getting him out there prematurely. It's just not worth it.
I mean, it's probably worth pointing out that on the injury report, if these things are deadly accurate, which sometimes they're not, Davante Adams would be considered more of a long shot than Patrick Mahomes this week. Patrick Mahomes has at least been limited for 2 days. Davante Adams has been a DNP, did not practice the past 2 days. So, you know, if you're of a mind like I am, that Patrick Mahomes is probably not going to play, he's technically more likely to play than Davante Adams at this point.
I mean, that's pretty mind-blowing. We talked about it on the live stream yesterday. Could you imagine?
No.
Yesterday was 6 days. Today it's now 7 days since Patrick Mahomes dislocated his knee, and he was back at practice yesterday. Certainly not in the same capacity as he's used to playing, but he's still there and he's still moving around on it.
The chances can't be zero, but they can't be a lot higher that he's going to play. I mean, he wouldn't be out there if he wasn't medically cleared, so he's medically cleared to be on a field. I'd have a hard time believing he'd be out there this week if there was 0% chance that he could play. So there's that. But he's not going to play. I mean, come on. He's that boy. You want to talk about taking a risk? That would be a heck of a gamble with that guy. I can't imagine that he's going to play this week.
I mean, brownie points for practicing, guy. That's impressive.
I mean, it doesn't mean nothing because, I mean, he's able to move around. So if you're a Chiefs fan, which this is obviously not a Chiefs live stream, but yeah, hello, nice to meet you.
Maybe they're learning.
If you're a Chiefs fan, you have to be doing cartwheels that the guy is going to come back this season and be fine, and that your Super Bowl aspirations are still very much intact because without him, they're not. So I mean, that's what that means. But and I also don't buy into this whole notion of they're giving the Packers something extra to think about. Like they're not going to see Patrick Mahomes on film anyway. I thought Preston Smith put it really well today when he said Matt Moore came in midway through the last game, midway through the second quarter, 2.5 quarters of Matt Moore. That means every other snap this season was Patrick Mahomes. And if you're going to study the Chiefs' offense, you're not going to study just 2.5 quarters. So they're going to be studying this guy anyway. It's not like they have to add all that much work to say, oh, he can throw the ball really well. I mean, Andy Reid said the offense didn't change much with Matt Moore, Patrick Mahomes. If it changes on Sunday, it's not something that they'd see on film. it'd be an unscattered look. So there's not a lot of more preparation there.
No, and Mike Pettin echoed that same sentiment today that Andy Reid had, that the offense doesn't change very much under both quarterbacks. It's still the same offense. Different guy running it, obviously, but
the difference is that Patrick Mahomes in his time against the Broncos was 10 of 11 for 125 passer rating, and Matt Moore was 10 of 17 for an 89.1 passer rating. That's the difference. It's how well they execute those plays.
Sure. So the rest of the injury report, let's go over some of the big hitters, I guess, the most important things, changes from yesterday. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Robert Tonyan, Darnell Savage, and Will Redmond went from full participation yesterday to limited in practice today. What is that about? Is it just because yesterday we know they did not have a very intense practice? There was a walkthrough, so not a lot going on yesterday. Today, Thursdays, typically they're more dialed in, high-intensity days. Is it just the matter of the workload of the day that we saw that full to limited shift?
Yes.
Thank you, Ryan, for confirming.
You answered your own question,
Great.
Olivia.
Good.
Very nice.
I don't need you guys anymore. I'm just gonna do it by myself.
Soloing. All right.
Other notable injury report news: Aaron Rodgers went from limited participation yesterday to full participation, which is, I guess, interesting considering, as we just mentioned, the workload was a little bit different between the 2 days. But good news for Aaron Rodgers that he's back to full capacity.
They're just giving his body a break, I think, yesterday. Just rest.
Seems like all the veterans were
getting. It wasn't
getting.
listed that way, but that's what it was.
Sure. Corey Linsley did not participate at all today, and I think we could use an update on what's going on with him because he was fine yesterday.
Spoke with him in the locker room for literally 7 seconds. He was walking out. That's what my tape recorder said, 7 seconds. He was walking out to go get treatment. Dropped out, did not practice today. He said it was a back injury. And I will say, I mean, I don't like to speculate, and I could be wrong here, but my eyes seemed like he was moving pretty gingerly. So, again, maybe that's in my head. I don't know, but that to me would be concerning for this week.
Yes. Okay, I have the Facebook chat open right now. Hi, guys. Ryan, my apologies to you. For some reason, our chat today says it's live with Olivia Reiner and Jim Ozarski. So
Man,
if you were disappointed
Jimmy
to see Ryan's face.
Jimmy got fat. I'm not Jimmy Ozarski.
This is, welcome, Ryan. Sorry about that. A lot of you guys in our comments have been wanting Darnell Savage Jr. to come back. He said today he didn't want to be 100% certain today. He did not say this with 100% confidence. But he was not entirely clear as to whether or not he'd be playing on Sunday. He says his intention is to play Sunday. He is preparing as if he will play Sunday, but he did not say, I am playing Sunday.
It's everything a guy can say, really.
There's always a little.
You can't say anything more than that as a player because it's not your choice, but he's playing. He'll play.
How big of a drop-off is there between Will Redmond and Darnell Savage? What have you seen?
Oh, significant, and nothing is Will Redmond. I thought he's played okay, but he doesn't run 4.3. I mean,
none of us do.
Well,
some of them
no,
do. We don't.
We don't. So, you know, I don't think there's a coincidence that the last 2 weeks you've seen some big hitters down the middle of the field in the passing game from the Lions and the Raiders without Darnell Savage Jr. on the field. He's been awfully good, and yeah, there's a drop-off.
Undeniable. I will say Aaron Rodgers had some nice things to say about Will Redmond and what he's been able to do. And he has, but
just doesn't run 4.3.
Got burned by tight ends a couple times. Yeah, where are we? Here we go. Todd says that Andy Reid is just stalling with the injury report. You could argue that Matt LaFleur has done similar things.
I think he's been pretty close, to being honest. I mean, I think he probably knows, and he said that he doesn't know, and he's probably hopeful that a miracle, Bethlehem there, a miracle can happen, but I don't think that he's playing games. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is out there to test out the knee first and foremost, and again, like I just said, it's not like they're adding oodles and oodles of homework to study Patrick Mahomes this week.
So Matthew raises an interesting question. He says, is having 5 out of 8 home games, the first 7 games of the season, a good or bad thing? What was that, Matt?
You want to flip that? I'm sure they'd like to flip that. I mean,
yeah, I would think so. I mean, the frozen tundra is frozen, but not all the time, and it's only frozen during the winter. Later, obviously, in the season, it has not been a frozen tundra here at all over the last couple weeks, and I'm sure they would like to get those opponents who aren't used to playing in that weather here when it is that weather.
I will say that if they were going to pick a year for this to happen, it would probably be when you have a first-time new head coach implementing a new offense. I mean, it's advantageous because you got the growing pains early in the season, and to have that happen on the road 5 of 8 would be less than ideal. But no, if they had to choose, and Aaron Rodgers has said this himself, if they had to choose, they would flip that. They want to take advantage of the cold weather late in the season.
Yes, we've got a question here from Brian. He wants to know, what is a yeet? Because it's on the some of the shirts. I guess the Packers have shirts now that say yeet.
Yes.
And Nathaniel Hackett was wearing one today, and it has been the word of the day, I would say.
I have no idea.
Let me educate young Ryan here.
Young Ryan, I think I'm old. I think that's the problem. I think it's that I'm old.
So it's an expression, kind of like an exclamation of like, yay, like, you know.
Is it what the cool kids say?
I mean, it's probably more like what my younger brother would say with his friends. Probably.
What is Nathaniel Hackett doing wearing that?
Well, some of the younger, I would assume it is a player-originated word.
Okay.
So it can mean that. It can also be used as a verb.
What does it mean? What does it mean?
As what? As a verb?
What does yeet mean?
Yeet, it's like an expression of like approval or like praise, like, or
I've never heard this before.
Or yeet can also mean to throw something. You can yeet something.
I wish we could take a poll right now to see how many people actually knew this and how many people didn't. So I would have an idea of how totally inept in the social conscience I am, because I've never heard this word before.
So, like I said, I believe it originated from the players. Where specifically, I would like to dig in a little bit more, but I do know.
Do some investigating.
So when I did my story with Billy Turner and I went to his house and he showed me all the clothes that he makes. If you haven't seen that yet, it's a fun story. Go check it out. You should see it.
Seriously,
it was a lot of fun. But it's a word that he likes a lot, and he uses it a lot, and he puts it on some of his clothes too. And I know he and David Bakhtiari use it, so I wonder if the offensive line had anything to do with it.
But it's not just a Packers thing.
No.
I've never heard this before. I feel so
we have a lot of
out place
questions.
right now.
Okay. Hopefully, if anyone has any thoughts, do share. Let's see what else we got from you guys. Cody thought it was more of a Southern word. Perhaps. I can't say I really know.
I didn't know it was a word, so, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeet was used 2 years ago, says Kevin. All right. So we're late to the game. Everyone is learning.
I never got to the game.
Frank didn't know. Todd didn't know.
Thank you, guys.
That's
There's
okay.
strength in numbers.
All right, we'll bring it back to some team talk. Josh, well, I guess that is still team talk, but non.
The offensive coordinator had it written across his chest today. So.
Yes, it was important. Josh wants to know, will Jimmy Graham be back next year? No. Okay. That's our 2 cents. Yeah.
They got to do something, don't they? I don't know. I haven't really gotten to next year yet, so, I mean, admittedly, I haven't really thought that much about it, but I would think not.
You'd think they could. They don't have to bring him back next year, correct? And why would they at this point in the season? Is my thinking. Could something change between now and then?
You know, they're just so desperate to get him involved in the offense, and it's just, for everyone from Nathaniel Hackett to Matt LaFleur to Aaron Rodgers, they're all. No one has uttered an ill word against Jimmy Graham. They've all said how important, how vital, how necessary it is to get him involved in the offense, which strikes me kind of dumb because they've won without him, basically. I mean, so they're, sometimes what we think on the outside is not what they're thinking
That's
on the
true.
inside.
Yeah.
And so there's always that. I'm on the outside here, and I don't see it, but I guess you never know.
Yeah, they see something in the meeting room, in the locker room that we obviously don't get to see.
Right.
They think very highly of him. Let's see. Cody thinks he's going to retire. Do you think he would retire after this year?
Not until someone's willing to pay him.
Yeah, that's true. This is true. Let's see what we got. Trade rumors. We talked about this yesterday. We haven't heard, no. I mean, trade rumors.
I think, and not to say that this is likely, but I think that Josh Gordon being released or waived eventually, waived injured by the Patriots and signed by the Packers is much more likely much more likely than them giving a first-round pick for A.J. Green, which is much more likely than them signing Antonio Brown. So if you're layering
that's a pretty drastic.
Now, none of those are maybe likely. I don't know. But of the three, I would say Josh Gordon would be the most likely. And you know what? Not a bad fit for Josh Gordon. Isolated Green Bay here. Hear all the time from players, just focus on football. He's got a quarterback. He's a talented player. Just got to get healthy. I mean,
how long?
I could see it.
How long is his recovery time?
Well, that's I don't know. Have you seen?
I don't know.
I haven't seen anything on the recovery time. Only that it's not a season-ending thing, and that they're surprised in New England that he was put on IR because it's not considered season-ending. So he's probably going to be able to play at some point. And the Patriots do have to make him available. They have to release him when he's healthy.
Right.
Yeah, that's the rules. It's the NFL. It's not my rules. It's their rules. So, yeah, I would think he's going to play again sometime this season. The Packers make sense. I don't know if they're going to sign him or not, but it would make sense to me.
So Jerron wants to know, will Dexter Williams get any playing time anytime soon? My guess is that...
He did last week, right?
Hey, yes, he absolutely did.
Admittedly, once Tim Boyle came onto the field and it was a whatever the score was blowout, I was furiously writing my deadline.
So you weren't paying
gamer.
attention?
So I didn't really watch the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't either because I was actually headed downstairs to go to the locker room.
But
so
I remember
I truly saw nothing.
I remember hearing Dexter Williams did get in the game.
Yes, he did. I went back and looked at the stats, and I saw his name under rushing, and I was like, oh, Dexter Williams. So there you go. He did get some playing time, some garbage time, but still time.
Yes.
But when it comes to non-garbage time minutes, my guess is that they've got their two guys right now, in Jamal and Aaron. There's no way Dexter's getting in there.
If they're healthy, then yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't expect anything. Let's see. Rita wants to know if Ryan Grant will play this week. I don't know. The wheel ain't broke, so why try to throw in another guy? They've been riding on Kumaro and Lazard. Occasionally in Shepard, they got Gmo, they got Marquez Valdez-Scantling. If all of those guys are healthy and able to go, would you bring in a guy like Grant?
Why would they sign him if he wasn't going to play would be my thing, I wonder. I think I'm going to disagree with you on this one, Olivia. We have our first disagreement.
You think he's ready after a week and change?
Yeah, I think that he'll be active. I don't know how much he'll play. I think he'll be on the 46. That's just a guess. I really don't know. If I'm wrong, don't blame me.
Do you think he would get Dexter Williams' spot? Or do you need that third running back?
No.
You got Vitale.
Not if you go in with two healthy guys. And, yeah, Vitale showed that he can catch the ball and run. Holy cow, was it the second catch where he just ran away from the defensive lineman?
Yeah.
He's a defensive lineman, but
and he got
Vitale's a fullback.
We've been talking a lot about Aaron Jones as a blocker in this past game because he was pretty phenomenal. Had a crucial block on Marquez Valdez-Scantling's long touchdown. He had a good block on one of those Vitale's receptions as well and helped make the whole thing go. So, Aaron Jones, you're complete back for sure.
Yeah, Nathaniel Hackett had a funny thing. It wasn't. He didn't say yeet. It was different.
Besides that,
he said that when he was in the box during that play, everyone's obviously excited about the touchdown. He's like, "Whoa! Did you see the block?" And he's like, it's kind of like, I guess if it was basketball or maybe perhaps hockey.
Olivia, right, we're talking about hockey. Wow.
You would give him assist on the play.
I would. Yeah.
It was an assist.
That's an assist.
An assist touchdown.
That is a running back assist for Aaron Jones. So good, big game for him. What else? Yeah, Nathaniel Hackett called Elton Jenkins the Elgatron today.
Elgatron.
So that's a funny thing that happened. There's some good one-liners from Mike Pettin, too.
Oh, well, oh gosh, I'm spacing. There were some good one-liners.
He's going to ask. He said he would be open to blitz coverage,
from
whatever.
The guy that makes his eggs.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah, he said that he's not ever been a coach that thinks the only good idea is his idea, that if he'll take a good idea from anywhere, including the guy that makes his eggs, if he's got a good blitz to look at, then he'll draw it up. It's pretty funny. There was another one, too, that I'm forgetting.
There was a second one.
I tweeted it. Go to Buy Ryan Wood on Twitter. That was so like an hour ago, and I don't remember.
Our minds are moving at a fast pace, so it's hard to keep track of everything.
Yes, if you want to see the Pettinisms today, just go to my Twitter account.
But anyway, my fingers are starting to freeze off, guys. It's getting late. It's getting real dark, so we're going to wrap it up for tonight. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you're flipping on the Bucks after this. They're in Houston tonight. So,
are they?
Yeah.
That time of year, huh?
It is. It's their opener.
God, the NBA season's long, isn't it?
It is. It's a long.
Sorry, that's very curmudgeon-y of me. But.
Well, or you could argue that the NFL season is quite short.
It's the right length.
For us, it is the right length. Could you imagine it being any longer?
Let's not go to 18 games here. It's the right length.
We should have our own CBA for
if
the
anything,
writers.
they need to have a shorter preseason. And just keep it at 16 with 2 preseason games.
I agree, but let's not get
it's
into
that
can of worms tonight. We'll pass on that. Guys, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. I will be live tomorrow with somebody. Are you going to be here tomorrow?
I am going to be here.
Okay, so maybe Ryan will be back. But anyway, we'll be live again tomorrow to give our final predictions for Kansas City. Maybe we'll chat a little bit about some barbecue. We'll take your recommendations for barbecue. Always appreciate that. Yeah, okay. Oh, is that the name of the restaurant?
Oklahoma Joe's.
Okay, I'll keep that
one.
one.
More of a gas station than a restaurant, but
I
you
don't
go
know
there.
about that. I don't know how I feel about that.
The best food in the country is made out of a gas station, Olivia. I'm telling you, it's the best barbecue in the world.
Interesting. I need a little bit more corroboration from somebody else.
Everyone been to Kansas City, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
All right, I'll take your word for it, Ryan. Thank you. So make sure you come back tomorrow for our live stream. Also, make sure you're checking out PackersNews.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels, and I think that's everything I want you to do for tonight. Yeah. Anything you want them to do, Ryan?
Drive safe, everyone.
Yes, always drive safe. Wear a seatbelt, and have a great